Have you ever thought about what's most important to you in your golden years? When I moved into a nursing home at the age of 81, I thought I knew what to expect. After a year, though, I realized that life is full of surprises, both good and bad, that make me rethink what I thought life was all about. You won't see these 7 things in any other video because I learned them while living in a nursing home for a year. You or someone you care about might find that these lessons help you age in a graceful way. You may find ideas that back up what you already think, but you may also find ideas that make you rethink how you think about getting older. This video will help you understand what it means to age in a healthy way, and it might even make you rethink your plans for the future. Don't stop reading yet, because the final lesson will change the way you think about your own aging journey. If you don't already, subscribe and hit the bell button before we start. That way you won't miss a video. In the comments, give the video a like if you liked it and a 0 if you didn't. Thanks for your thoughts. I'll use it to make my videos better for you. We can begin now. The first thing is that you can choose not to be lonely. When I first walked into the nursing home, I thought I might feel lonely for some reason. My partner died a long time ago. The kids were all grown up and going on their own trips. Also, most of my long-lost friends had died or moved away. I thought that having to deal with loneliness was a normal part of getting older. You don't have to be lonely. You can choose to be. It changed the way I look at life when I learned this after living here for a year. I've met 2 kinds of people here. A lot of people wait all day for someone to visit them because they don't feel loved. People who try to blend in, on the other hand, smile at people walking by, start conversations, and so on. What sets these 2 groups apart is not their situations, but how they think about them. A woman named Margaret taught me this. Even though they didn't have many close friends or family, I had never met anyone so happy. I asked her what made her happy to find out. She laughed and yelled, "I never wait for happiness to find me. I go looking for it." I could not get rid of that feeling. I did try it, yes. I got up and went to the hallway to say hello to people I didn't know. I started playing cards again after a long break. It was amazing how my world grew as people told me about their lives, families, and stories. More people contacted me after I put myself out there. It was no longer just a way to pass the time when people made friends. I've come to realize that loneliness is more of a choice not to interact with other people than actually being alone. The chances we get to connect, laugh, and talk should be used to their fullest. When you feel alone, ask yourself, am I waiting for someone to come to me, or am I taking the first step? Why? Because waiting makes it more likely that you will be alone, while reaching out makes it more likely that you will make friends, find purpose, and even be happy. Number 2, if you let it, independence goes away faster. When I first got to the nursing home, I noticed a pattern. People who used to be able to do things on their own stopped trying over time. Richard, a man who had always been strong and able to do things on his own, started asking for help with small things that he had always done on his own. It seemed harmless at first, but after a few months, it made him weaker, less sure of himself, and more reliant on other people. The truth is that you lose your skills when you don't use them. I quickly learned that choosing to stay independent is a choice. You don't have to get up and pour your own coffee. Someone else can do it for you. Take the elevator instead of walking a few extra steps. But each time you do what's easy, you lose a little more of your strength, your mobility, and your sense of who you are. It's almost impossible to get it back once you give it up. So I made a rule for myself. If I can do it, I will do it, even if it is hard, takes longer, or makes me feel like I don't need to. When I can, I use the stairs. Every morning, I get dressed without help. And even when I don't feel like it, I get up and move around. I don't want to prove anything to anyone. I just want to keep what I have for as long as I can. We don't lose our freedom all of a sudden as we get older. In tiny moments, people make choices that don't seem important at the time, but they add up over weeks, months, and years. There are times when people give up their freedom without even realizing it because they didn't fight to keep it. If you are still living alone, don't let ease of living take away your skills. If you can move, stretch, lift, stand, or do anything else, keep doing it. If you stop, you'll start to lose your strength and need help with everything, which is nothing you want. Third, health gets worse when routines are broken. It was strange to me when I first got to the nursing home. Some of the residents seemed alert, interested, and full of life. while others seemed to fade away, losing their energy and interest in everything going on around them. First, I thought it was just a matter of health. I thought some people were just stronger. But as time went on, I realized that routine was what really made a difference. I met a man named George who was 75 years old and used to be a teacher. He got up at the same time every morning, shaved, dressed well, and went for a short walk before breakfast, just like clockwork. He had a set time to read, hang out with friends, and even work out. He was sharp, aware, and had a charm about him. Then I met people who didn't have any routines. They got up whenever they felt like it, skipped breakfast, stayed in their rooms, and did nothing all day. It was clear that their mental and physical health were different. I quickly learned that the mind and body need structure. Without it, things start to fall apart. Without reasons to move, get up, and do things, our bodies get weaker, our minds slow down, and the days blend together. I've seen it happen over and over. People who used to do well start to lose their edge because they don't have any reason to keep busy. I told myself that every day had to have a plan. I get up, shower, and get dressed even when I don't feel like it. I planned when to eat, read, and move around a bit. Every chance I get, I go outside, even if it's only for a short time. Every day at the same time, I talk to the same people, which keeps the connections going. It's not about being busy, it's about being involved in life. It's not just the body that gets old, it's also what we do with our days. People who don't follow a routine, no matter how simple, tend to lose their spark. But people who do stay sharper, stronger, and more alive. Having seen it for myself, I can tell you that if you want to stay on your own and feel like yourself for as long as possible, make a routine and stick to it. It might not seem important at first, but it makes a huge difference in the long run. Number 4, how you feel affects what you experience. I thought that the healthiest residents were the happiest ones. Those who could still walk easily, had lots of visitors, and didn't have any major health problems. That's what I thought when I moved into the nursing home. I was wrong, though. Some of the healthiest people I knew were miserable and always whine about what they had lost. At the same time, some of the happiest residents were the ones who had the most problems, like those who were in wheelchairs, had memory loss, or had lost their best friends. What changed things? How you act. Eleanor was 86 years old when I met her. She had severe arthritis that made it hard for her to move. She could have thought about the pain, the limits, and how unfair everything was all day. Instead, she smiled at people every morning, asked how they were, and never missed a chance to say something nice. It wasn't what happened to her that made her happy. It was how she chose to see things. That stuck with me because I've met people with a lot less problems than Eleanor who were angry and always thought about what they had lost and how their lives used to be. Truth be told, you will never enjoy what is still here if you always think about what is gone. As people age, they have to go through changes. But our experience is shaped by what we choose to pay attention to. It's something I tell myself every day. I can think about what I miss or what I still have. I can either whine about the things that are hard or be thankful for the things that are still possible. You know what? I can either let the past define me or enjoy what's left of the present. They taught me that happiness is not something that just happens, but something we make and work at. And the smartest people are the ones who age the best, not the ones who have the best situations. Every morning, if you think things will be worse, they will be. If you decide in the morning to find something good in the day, you will. It's really that easy. Number 5, visiting family is hard to plan, but friendships keep you going. When I first moved into the nursing home, I thought the best part of my days would be seeing my family. They were at first. There was something exciting about seeing my kids and grandchildren and hearing about their lives. But the visits got less common over time. Things got busy and schedules got hard to keep track of, so there would be weeks when they didn't visit. It hurt at first. When the phone didn't ring, I found myself waiting, hoping, and feeling let down. Then I noticed something. The most lonely people were often the ones who spent all their time waiting for family to come over. People who made friends in the nursing home, on the other hand, always had someone to talk to and a reason to smile. That's when I understood that family's important, but friends are what keep you going. I got to know a guy named Albert. His son lived 2 hours away, and only came to see him every few months. In spite of this, Albert never seemed sad or alone. He played cards in the afternoon, ate meals with people he cared about, and had coffee with a small group of friends every morning. He always had someone to laugh with. I asked him one day how he stayed so positive, even though he didn't see his son very often. I felt like everything changed when he smiled and said, "I stopped counting the visits and started counting the people who were here every day." It took my mind off of when my family would come to visit and put it on the people around me. When I felt like staying in my room, I tried to sit with different groups at meals, check on my neighbors, and take part in activities. It made me feel less lonely the more I did it. No matter how much our families care about us, they can't always be there when we need them to be. They have their own lives and responsibilities. That has nothing to do with their love. It's just life. We can let that make us feel forgotten, or we can use it to make connections right now. As I've seen it many times, people who wait for family visits often feel let down. But people who work hard to make friends, be a part of something, and build relationships with the people they see every day do very well. Because at the end of the day, love is about who shows up, who cares, and who makes your world feel a little less lonely. And most of the time, those people aren't the ones who share your blood, but the ones who share your days. Sixth, the past gets clearer, but the present is still important. When you get older, the past starts to feel more real than the present. I remember very clearly things from my childhood, like how my mom's kitchen smelled, the songs on the radio, and the sound of my best friend laughing when we were kids. If you ask me what I had for lunch yesterday, I might not be able to remember right away. I've seen this in other people too. A lot of the time, people in nursing homes talk about the past. They talk about old jobs, young loves, and how things used to be. I get why. The past is comfortable and familiar. We felt strong and needed there, and life seemed bigger. It's not safe to spend too much time looking backward, though. We might forget we're still here. I met a guy named Frank once. That was all he talked about, the past. He was 89 years old and could tell amazing stories about his younger years. He never did anything or asked anyone about their life right now. He never seemed interested in what was going on around him. He seemed to have decided that his life was over, even though he was still alive. Helen was the next one. The woman was 84 years old and loved to think about the past, but she never let that stop her from living in the present. She was always interested in new things and trying them out. She once said, "I have more yesterdays than tomorrows, but that doesn't mean today doesn't count." That stuck with me because I believe that remembering the good times is a gift. It helps us remember where we came from, the people and events that shaped our lives, but it should never get in the way of the present. There are still things to talk about, meals to enjoy, people to connect with, and events to be a part of. Life is still going on, even if it doesn't look like it did before. We might miss what's left of the present if we dwell on the past for too long. Yes, tell your stories, remember your best times, and smile at the memories that make you feel good. But don't forget to look around, stay involved, and keep living, because the time we have now is still important, no matter how many years have passed. It's the little things that make a big difference. You see less of the world as you age. The big adventures, career milestones, and adventure trips that used to define your life are now in the past. Things that happen every day, simple routines, and little things that fill your time are all that are left. After a year in a nursing home, I've learned that little things do matter more than you think. Simple things like a warm cup of coffee in the morning, a favorite song playing in the background, or the feel of the sun on their skin while sitting by a window can bring people great happiness. Harold, an 82-year-old man I know, gets so excited every time he gets his favorite butterscotch candy. He always has a few in his drawer and gives one to anyone who comes by. Most people wouldn't even bother to talk about it, but for him, it's a ritual that brings comfort, connection, and a little happiness. These are times I now know how to treasure. When I take my first sip of hot tea in the morning, I enjoy the sound of birds outside my window and the voices of friends greeting me in the hallway. These little things become the best parts of the day when life slows down. I have seen it happen. The happiest people are the ones who enjoy the little things in life. However, I have seen people who only think about the things they don't have, like the trips they can't take, the foods they can't eat, and the things they can't do. They notice less of what is still there, the more they think about what is missing. That's when anger sets in, days feel empty, and nothing seems to make you happy anymore. It's true that big things don't always make people happy. It's sometimes just a good meal, a nice chat, or a moment of peace and quiet. It makes life a little better no matter where you are or what stage of life you're in when you learn to value those things. Now take a deep breath and pay attention to a small thing around you that makes you happy. It could be a sound, a smell, a taste, or a feeling. Hold on to it, because in the end, it's not the big things that matter in life, but the little things that make each day worth living. Last words. Living in a nursing home for a year taught me that getting older isn't just about getting older. It's also about how I choose to spend the years I have left. If we let it, our independence goes away. But if we keep busy, we keep more than we think. You don't have to be lonely. You can choose not to be, and the more you reach out, the more connected you feel. Not only is routine a fun way to pass the time, it also helps our bodies and minds stay strong. How you feel is very important. Not the healthiest people I've met are the happiest. The happiest people I've met choose to think about what they still have instead of what they've lost. Even if you don't get to see your family very often, friendships can fill in the time and keep you company. We'll always remember the past, but if we spend all our time thinking about it, we might miss the present. And in the end, the little things that make us happy, coffee in the morning, laughter, sunlight coming in through a window, are what we value most. One thing I want you to remember is that life goes on even when things change. If we are willing to accept it, there is still room for connection, growth, and happiness. Thanks for being here today. Please get in touch with us. Tell us what you learned today and how you're going to use it in your life in the comments below. We want to hear what you have to say, so don't be shy about it. We feel very motivated and encouraged when we read your comments. Please like, subscribe, and share this video if you liked it and found it useful. Thanks for your support. It lets us keep making good content for you to learn from and be inspired by. Thanks for watching. See you in the next video.